Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is now episode 8 of our NDIS SEO campaign, and in this episode I'll be going through my entire backlinking strategy and I'll be showing you how you can implement it for your own business. In the last episode we discussed internal linking, and that is just a link from one page of your website to another page. But backlinking is slightly different. This is where you get a backlink from someone else's website pointing back to your website, and this can greatly affect the rankings and visibility in Google. So Google looks at these backlinks and then trusts you via association. So if you can obtain a backlink from a really high quality website and they're already trusted by Google, and then they link out to you, Google looks at it and goes, we trust this website here, and they're linking out to this site over here, we'll give a bit of that trust to this site as well, and that's how you prop your website up. In this guide, I'll be showing you how to firstly find what backlinks your competitors have already built. I'll then show you how to vet these backlinks for quality. This is super important because if you build a toxic backlink back to your website, it can actually have a negative effect on your rankings and sometimes even lead to a manual penalty. I will then show you the types of backlinks we want to build and the ones that are the most effective. And then lastly, how to reach out and obtain these backlinks. This can be done through a number of ways, either through email outreach or through third-party vendors. For this example, I'll be showing you the backlink profile of an electrician. The reason I'm not showing you an NDIS provider is because I was having trouble finding any sort of competitors with substantial backlink profiles that I would want to mimic. So I'm just going to show you one that I know has a super strong backlink profile and we can take a lot from what they have. So firstly, what you want to do is you want to grab their URL and you want to take it over to a program called Ahrefs, and you want to just paste their URL into the Site Explorer. From here, you can see a bit of stats about the business. They are quite a strong DR, which is domain rating. They have 4.6 thousand monthly traffic, which is quite substantial for a local service-based business. But what you want to do is you want to come over here and click on their referring domains. A referring domain is simply just the websites from all over the internet that are linking to their site. And then what you want to do is go over to best links and go best links only. What this will do is it will sort all of their best backlinks and put them in a list for us. So now we have a list of all of their best backlinks here. And I just want to scroll down and show you one example. This one here is a known site that I've built many links to before in the past. So I'll show you this one. And if you come over here and you click on this little arrow, you can see where the backlinks come from. So if we open this, you can see this is what you call a guest post. So they've written content on a certain topic, guide to EV charging stations since they're an electrician. And then within this content, they have a backlink pointing back to their website. So here they use the anchor text AB Sydney, which is their brand, and the location. And then if you click on this one, it brings them back to their Sydney location / service page. Okay, now just to quickly check the stats of this website here, we just want to go to the home page and grab the URL. And we'll just do another quick Site Explorer search. And now we can see that they are DR64, which is fine. I don't usually look at this as this is a metric that Ahrefs use. What we're really looking for here is organic traffic, which I would generally never purchase a backlink that has less than 1,000 traffic. But then if you click on the traffic here, you can actually see where the traffic's coming from. And this is a really important thing here. You want to see that the traffic is coming from like relevant industry sort of topics. So what are construction coatings, ultimate guide to heater repair, everything you need to know. So that right there, they're getting 227 traffic is very relevant to an electrician. So this is looking like a very good backlink at the moment. Here is an example of a backlink that I would tend to avoid building to your site. This one is called entrepreneursbreak.com. And if you look at the all-time data of this site, you can see that it's quite choppy and it's sort of fallen off a cliff at stages, while the referring domains have just been skyrocketing. So you can see here that they have almost 6,000 referring domains, which tells me that they've probably purchased a PBN and cheap, crappy backlinks pointing to their site to try and boost like the DR and the traffic to this site, which just tells me that all of the traffic is most likely going to be just crappy low quality traffic. And if we have a look at it, yep, you can see most of the traffic is just coming to pages with just random symbols and words which generally have zero importance at all. So if we were to go and buy a backlink to a guest post from this site here, we're probably going to have little to no effect on our rankings on our website. The last thing I like to do in terms of quality check is grab the URL and go over to SEMrush. You can have a free account for this one. You don't need to be paying for this. And we just put in the URL again. And what you want to do is come down to Backlink Analytics, and then over here is the network graph. And this is usually a really good sign of whether the backlink is toxic or not. If this ever says reputable or healthy, and it's in green, perfect, we can buy a link from here. But if it's not, it's going to say suspicious or dangerous. Stay well clear from that, because that's most likely going to harm your site and waste your money. Now that we've chosen the backlink source that we want for our backlink, we have to decide what type of backlink we want to build. Generally, I will only build two different types of backlinks for clients, and that is link insertions and guest posts. A link insertion is finding an article that's already written on their site and then asking for them to add a link in the already written text. So for instance, if I like this article here that we showed before, I could ask them if they would add a link in this already written article back to my site, and then you would just pay for that link insertion. And the alternative is asking for a guest post. So that's a whole new completely written article by yourself. And this is usually my preferred method for backlink, because you can control the content on this page. So you can write the content about any topic that you want that's super relevant to your product or service, and then you can embed the link anywhere within this text here as well. For today's example, I'll be showing you how to obtain a guest post backlink. So now that we've decided we want a backlink from this website here, the first thing you can do is just email them directly. So if you come down here and just find their email address, you can send them an email, something similar to this. Hey, I have a business in this industry and I'd love to feature a guest article on your site. If this is something you do, please let me know the price, and they'll generally come back to you with a price, and then you'll send them the article. They'll send you an invoice, usually via PayPal, and that's how it goes. The second way you can do it is through third-party vendors. A couple that I like to use, number one is link publishers, and another one is Linkhouse, but there's many out there that you can go on and sort of compare the price. The benefit of using a third-party publisher like this is that if there's ever an issue and the link sort of doesn't get published or it gets taken down, you can often get a refund. So it's just usually safer, but sometimes the links on here are slightly more expensive than reaching out directly. So if you just grab the URL here and you search for it in the marketplace, yep, this is a link that they're selling, and it's $30 here. So you can just purchase it directly through this website. Now, the last thing left to do is actually writing this guest post for your backlink. You can do this a number of ways. You can either just ChatGPT to write an article for you. I typically don't like this as much because it's not going to be a very high quality article. So a number of ways you can do this is by using content writing tool. Two that I like, Koala Writer, which is quite cheap, and you can just sort of add a topic, add a few references for its research, word count, etc. And another one is called Write Sonic, and this is the one I'll be using as an example today. So what you want to do is just click on AI Article Writer, and you want to enter a topic. So I'll be doing this for neighborly community care. So what I want to do is go back to ChatGPT, and I want to say, give me some informational blog topic ideas around NDIS disability services. So this will give us a number of topics that we can then go and write about. What is the NDIS and how does it work? That's a pretty good generic topic we can write about, and we'll take that over here and we'll publish that there. I forgot to mention, the reason we want to use a software like this to write our article is because if we can write a super high quality article that when we post it on the guest post site, if that article ranks well and starts getting traffic, it's going to have far greater effect on the backlink to our website than a blog article that receives zero traffic. So by doing this, we can actually give it more of a chance to rank in Google, and it can sometimes lead to organic traffic to our guest post, which then can fill back into our own website and service pages. Now we just want to click on blog post, continue, and now it's going to do some research on this topic and give you a recommendation of the top sort of articles that we should reference within our article. Usually these are fine to select, but if you're doing this for a sort of blog on your own site, I would usually do a little bit more research just to make sure that we are referencing the right information. But for now, we're just going to choose these 5 sources. Press continue. It's now recommending a primary keyword for us. And yep, this one looks good. It now gives us a list of titles, but I generally find that these sound very sort of AI written. So I like to just use the first one that we came up with in ChatGPT. So add your own title, that, and continue. Now, secondary keywords, we just want to make sure that these are all relevant as well. How does the NDIS work? And what's the last one? Understanding NDIS. These are all good. Now, configurations. This is where it will recommend a certain word count based on the competition and what's already ranking well in Google. Generally, you want to follow this as it's going to be most correct. So we're going to select this one here, 1,000 to 2,000 words. It will give us a content outline. It gives you 2 options here. Generally, just have a quick read through and just see which one sort of sounds the best and reads the best. Who is eligible? How does it work? This one looks quite good, so I'll continue with that. Additional enhancements. We always want to have this one selected here because it's going to humanize the article, and what it's going to do is just sort of make it that if you put it through an AI detector, it's not going to show up as 100% AI written. So it's going to come across more like a human wrote it. And this is still debated among SEOs how important this is, but we like to try and make it as human sounding as possible just in case Google ever decides to punish sort of AI written content. You can here generate a cover image if you want. I generally don't do that because the publisher on the guest post site usually just finds a stock image as the featured image. We'll then click generate, and then it will go away and start writing the content for this article. It takes 2 to 3 minutes, and then you'll have a nice, well-written guest post. Now that this article is fully generated, I like to just take it over to Claude and just tidy a few things up. Since this program writes usually in British English, it sometimes messes up sort of money figures and a few certain things. It uses a lot of AI M dashes. So we just want to take this article into Claude and just clean this up for us. And we also want to add backlink into this content. So what we want to do is just grab this content, put it into Claude and paste it. And I've got a prompt here. This is my new article. I want to make sure it's relevant to Australia and in Australian English. Remove any M dashes. Any mention of money, I want you to not use a dollar symbol. I want you to use a dollar symbol and not AUD, and round it up or down to the nearest 10 or 100. I need you to add a backlink into the content towards the top of the article. Naturally add the anchor text, fill in the blank, linking to, fill in the blank. So since we are a pretty new business, we are going to use the anchor text, a branded anchor text. This is generally the most natural and safe backlink to use. Once we get a bit more authority and a bit more traffic and rankings to the site, I will start using different sort of anchor text around the service pages. So maybe Community Access Brisbane and some other relevant services. But for now, we're just going to use a branded anchor and we're going to be linking back to the homepage as it's the safest. So we'll just fill in these 2 sections and send that off. Now we have our guest post that is tidied up and edited to be relevant to Australia. And we also have our backlink embedded into the content towards the top of the article right here. So if you click that, that'll link straight to the homepage of Neighbourly Community Care. So now all you want to do is just grab this content here and add it to a Google Doc. From here, what you'll do is just file, download as a Word doc, and this is the document you would then send over to the website you're purchasing a guest post from, and then you pay the invoice, and that's that. They will publish the content on their site and you will get the backlink back to your website. This process will take a good 2 to 3 days until your article is live. So I'm just going to show you an example of an old guest post that I purchased the other week, just to show you what the final version looks like. So this is an article, a guest post that I wrote and published on this news site here, just about the different types of disability support services in Australia. And as you can see here again, we have a link, Neighbourly Community Care. So that's our branded anchor text. And again, that is going to take us to the homepage of our website. Generally, I will want a site that's a little bit more relevant to the industry that they're working in. But since NDIS and sort of healthcare is quite a niche sort of industry, it's very hard to find a site that's going to allow you to just post your own content on this site due to legal implications and things like that. So the next best option is just high authority news sites with lots of organic traffic. And since they're a news site, they can sort of talk about a bunch of different topics without getting in trouble either. That is going to be the strategy over the next 3 to 6 months for Neighbourly Community Care. I'm going to build 2 to 3 of these per month, and this is going to greatly improve the authority and rankings on our website. So that is our entire strategy for backlinking for Neighbourly Community Care. Stay tuned for next week's episode where we will now be branching into blog articles. And in this episode, we'll be coming up with a blog strategy and then also doing the keyword research to inform the next 3 to 6 months of blog articles that we'll be posting to this site. And this will hopefully bring in a significant amount of organic traffic and help build the authority to all of our main service and landing pages. Cheers.